Shalom, Israel. It's your boy Nubreed coming through with another video. In this particular video, I want to talk about how the loners are constantly reinventing themselves. That's right. We're talking about the progressive thinkers, those who are always thinking forward, those who are always planning in their minds. A lot of the times, those around them perceive these individuals as being withdrawn. A lot of loners themselves, they look at it as being a curse. In this video, I'm going to explain to you how much of a gift from God it is. Now, some of you all enjoy your alone time. You find peace and clarity, balance, understanding, levity. You find all these things just from being alone. That's a gift from God, ladies and gentlemen. See, the loner is always thinking of what's next. Most loners are the most impactful people in society. They're the most creative. They are the most inventive. These people are never stagnated. And when they get around people who are speaking about the past or the present and not the future, not something that's dynamic, not something that's moving forward. If they're speaking about the past and the present and there's no learning experience involved, that introverted individual typically is uninterested in that conversation. They can care less about that conversation. So you'll have individuals say, that person thinks they're better than I am. That person is strange or awkward. See, the loner, a lot of the times, they process information differently. And it's a gift. It's something that they were given since birth. A lot of people of age and stature have looked at these children who grew up to be introverted loners. Even while they were children, they seen an anointing on them. It was something different about that child than all the other children in the family. They knew that this one right here was special, different, withdrawn. They seem to be years beyond their age. It's a gift from God because even at that age, you were thinking forward. You were progressive in your thought process. A lot of people thought you were withdrawn. Yep, that's what they thought. And this is the reason why a lot of people of my generation are now, suppressed in their thought process because they threw a lot of things at us to suppress what's in us spiritually. They tried a lot to dilute our innate spiritual nature that gives us our natural impulses to the heavenly realm, which allow us to move forward and manifest what's in the spiritual realm. They did that by giving kids ADD medicine. See, because that kid was multitasking, full of energy, and have not yet learned how to use that energy, how to focus and hone in on all their gifts. So they try to give you ADD medicine, ADHD medicine, to suppress the consciousness, to suppress your revolutionary thoughts, your mind frame, what was embedded in your psyche from the beginning. They gave us drugs, they gave us crack, they gave us all these things in our communities which suppressed the hearts and the minds. They said we were hyperactive. They said a lot. In reality, a lot of people just had untapped potential. That's all. Now, let's talk about the whole science of the loner. How a lot of the times these people end up pioneers. end up being the people who do great things in life, become great, people who end up successful, people who are naturally progressive and moving forward. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about it because it's a science behind it. Now, get it out of your mind that everybody is equal in this world, because it's untrue. Some people have to rely on people as a crutch. That makes you unequal, or at least not on the same level as an individual who can stand alone. Let's be perfectly clear about that. If an individual can stand strong alone without a crutch, that makes them stronger. Let's get out of this notion that people are equal here in this earth. You have people ruling and you have people serving. That's just the reality. All right? So let's get our minds out of that. That's how society works. It's the cycle of life. All right? Now, it just so happens that a lot of people who are loners have been the most inventive, creative people in the world. And you can look back and do your history, do your research on people who were introverted, people who were deemed awkward and strange. Do your research. All right? Now, let's talk about it. Let's talk the science behind it. Loners are typically more analytical people because they have something that a lot of other people don't have. Some people are like, what's that, Breed? They have time to analyze. They have time to process information without the voices of others. That makes them more analytical. They're able to filter information through a different barometer than others. So if they're watching something on mainstream media, they're typically not stimulated by sensationalism as the rest of the world. See, they're typically not stimulated by gossip, rumors, he say, she say, because a lot of people who are analytical deal with facts, concrete evidence, because every situation to the progressive thinker is a learning situation. They don't like to move in circles. That's why when these loners are around certain individuals who are talking in circles or talking about other people or talking about nonsense or talking about things that's irrelevant, they typically are withdrawn. They have no time, they have no effort, they have no energy to even engage in such conversation. It takes the loner too much energy. And they look at it the same way with mainstream media, which is important. When you see something brought forth from mainstream media with all of this, these horrendous journalists out here these days, I mean, the stories that they tell. Mainstream media is filtered. I don't know who's filtering this thing. The truth of press is just absolutely horrible. It's just terrible. That's a whole nother topic for another day. But people who are more analytical like to deal with facts because they like to gain the learning experience from it. It's a science to being a loner. It's a purpose that you are a loner. Now, right now, we're talking about reinventing ourselves as a loner. Now, to reinvent yourself is very important, especially to a lot of you men out there, a lot of you women as well. You must constantly be trying to reinvent yourself. Some of you all can relate to this. Some of y'all may visit your communities of old that you grew up in. You'll see people doing the same damn thing they did 10 years ago. They're still doing it. And you can't wrap your mind around that because you're constantly trying to progress. The way you're wired is you're constantly adapting. This is a gift, not a curse. It's a gift that you've been pulled apart from certain individuals. It's a gift and not a curse. A lot of the times, God pulled you out of certain situations, certain groups, certain individuals to protect you. A lot of the times it's to protect you. To protect your emotions, to protect your livelihood, to protect your life in general. And the way you're wired, you're constantly developing. You're constantly adapting to what's taking place around you. You were wired to be that way. Ever since you were born, you were thinking forward. When you were sitting in your classroom and you were zoned out and you were thinking of things that everyone else wasn't thinking of, and you just knew something was different about you. People might have called you awkward. People looked at you strange. But those who can see, those elders who can see, They seen an anointing on you. So you may had a few people in your life who nourished and nurtured that anointing. You have the ability to constantly reinvent yourself. Every day breathing, you have a time in a day to actually change. And that's a blessing. The loner never takes that for granted. Their alone time. We don't like people to exercise meavery. Some people are like, what is meavery, Nubreed? That's when somebody steal your me time. Theft of your me time. We don't like theft of our me time. That's meavery. We need all our alone time. We need every minute to soak up and change and analyze and process information, process what somebody said to you that day, you know, weigh everything through a just balance so you can continue to grow, reinvent yourself, progress. Progression is a gift. It's not a curse that you're a loner, ladies and gentlemen. Some of the same people who looking down upon you because you don't want to deal with certain individuals, tell them to look you up in 2 years and see where you'll be. See where they'll be, see where you'll be. The loner is constantly reinventing themselves. Hopefully this video helped you out in your walk and your journey. If it did, mash the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button. If you want exclusive, raw, uncut material, follow me on Patreon, link down in the description box. Thank y'all for watching. With that being said, shalom and peace.